going. And over here. Oops. Okay, so there's that. Mark that as red. Okay. Just gonna give it a minute here. See if anyone's gonna pop in before I start like diving into a bunch of stuff. Since I like just went live, just posted over in Snow Crows that it was happening. Doesn't look like we're gonna get anybody else other than you and me and Party, I think. Let's see. But I do have a PowerPoint prepared. I made one. I guess I'll go in the airdrome. Oh yeah, I saw that. I also am kind of interested in the new fashion they're putting in there too. Stretchy kitties. It temporarily does. It's yeah, so you see it for like a second and then it goes away. Which honestly I'm glad with. I would hate if I had that on me constantly. Like a lot of times when I'm running around in open world or like if I'm just hanging out somewhere, I put myself unleashed because I don't like seeing it on my pet either. Like it's neat, but not as like so because you can't see anything else other than just that. Yeah. Yeah, they're also just like, yeah, it's all like slimy. They're like, you can't even see their stripes anymore. They're just like a crazy, slimy creature. Okay. Yeah, I'll give it, since Ray just said that she was going to pop in, I'll give her a minute. I have an ad that's going to be starting in a second anyway. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and run the ad now, I think. I think that's a longer ad than I intended, but whatever. Got any Twitch achievement? What is it? The Empire business. Stream for 500 hours total. Oh, okay. I guess I've streamed for 500 hours. Alright, the ad is almost done. We've got like 25 seconds or so, and then I'll get started. Oh yeah, I should have set up how I'm gonna stream this fucking PowerPoint. Let me put it over here. Cancel, add a window. Oops. That's what we want. There. And then I'll turn it into a slideshow. Yes. So I'll be going over Untamed sort of in general here. There we go. Now you can see my little... Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's the basic power Untamed build. So yeah, I guess first I'll kind of like go over a few things here. I hope you like my little graphic there. It's oh, hold on, let me stream this in the Discord so that way you can see it too. No, I don't want to stream Guild Wars 2. I want to stream that. There you go. Now you can watch that from within Discord if you want. Okay, so you like my little toot cloud that I have on there? Yeah. Yeah, so that is a little joke because where is my input? Yeah, this. So is this is the classic smart fart cloud right here, and the pet generates it. It's the enveloping haze. But then there's additional ones that happen from when you do different unleashed skills. So for example, staff unleashed it's pretty blinding. It's very large. I think I am not going to get another unleashed on this one yet. I'm going to have to wait 9 seconds. But yeah. Let me get back to my regular ass build there and bring the PowerPoint back up. Alrighty. So, first of all, just kind of a little bit about what makes Untamed special. It is the third elite spec from Ranger. There are 4 Ranger. It's from EOD. My note to self there is because I was going to demo exactly what is different from regular ass Ranger. So you get this skill right here, this Unleash Ranger skill. Your pet gets extra damage that they do, and some of their skills do different things. Like they get their F skills replaced with these 3 skills if they're unleashed. And then when you F5 and Ranger is unleashed, you get access to ambush skills. So every main hand weapon or a double-handed weapon has an ambush skill on one, kind of like Mirage does. And Ranger does more damage while unleashed. That's it. That is the entirety of what makes Untamed different anyway, as far as from other Ranger specs with the actual like pet mechanic. Now some other things that are really cool about Untamed and why I love it is it's got lots of access to boon strip because, well, I mean, not as much as like Chrono or something like that, but it has boon strip, which Ranger generally or otherwise does not, which is very nice. It also has access to quickness. It's the quickness class for Ranger, so if you're going to do quick DPS or heal DPS, it's going to have to be on Untamed. There's lots of jumps to targets, leaps to targets. Your dagger ambush is going to teleport you to the target. There's a special or a skill, an untamed skill called Unnatural Traversal. That one will teleport you to your target. I mean, you're not going to use that in like PvE endgame situations, but in open world or in PvE, World v World, it's pretty good for that. It does also have several traits that are crafted for survivability. You're essentially trading survivability back and forth between you and your pet if you're unleashed versus them unleashed. If they're the ones unleashed, you have more bonuses to you that help you stay alive and vice versa. As well, there's a lot of CC and a lot of bonuses from disabling within the primary trait line. Those, like I was saying with survivability, that and disabling are particularly nice for if you are like out in open world PvE and in like PvP or World v World. Granted, I'm going to be focusing on PvE endgame builds here that I'm going to go over. So the minor traits in the trait line, first of all. First one you get is Unleashed Power. That's like the main mechanic of the class. It allows you to get in the ambush attack, which replaces your auto attack, like I was mentioning earlier. You have a window of 4 seconds to cast that ambush skill before it's not available anymore and it flips back to your normal auto attack skill. As well, you can do this every 9 seconds. However, there is a major trait called Let Loose that you can take, which resets the cooldown of that every time you weapon swap. But that on its own has its own internal cooldown as well. So you can't just like weapon swap and then before the full 9 seconds is up, immediately do it again and then get your ambush. Granted, I don't think when you're in combat you can really do that because your weapon swap itself has a cooldown of 9 seconds. The second minor trait is Natural Fortitude. It's going to grant vitality and siphon health from ambushes. Again, a nice survivability trait. And then lastly, you've got Vow of the Untamed. Now, this is what's pretty dope. You do 25% more damage when you are unleashed. And you take 25% less damage when your pet is unleashed. So I think that that's a really fun mechanic about this build, and it can make it really fun to play in open world, and why it's also particularly good for PvP or World v World scenarios, because you can trade off between damage and survivability like that. Now for the major traits. I've put little icons on here to kind of give you a general idea as far as if you ever want to reference this PowerPoint or something. Traits that are good for survivability versus traits that are best for max DPS. Debilitating blows, it will apply conditions on disable. It's not that great. Honestly, it's way better to take blinding outburst because it increases the damage that your pet F1 skill does by 25% and overall increases your ambush DPS by 10%. So it's just not really worth it to take debilitating blows. Nature's Shield is nice for if you're gonna need extra survivability, but again, like I don't know. Blinding Outburst is really good. I wouldn't take another one. In the second row, you have Enhancing Impact. This gives you a boon when you disable a foe. It's quickness for yourself if you're unleashed, and stab if your pet is unleashed. That might be nice for roaming or, I don't know, PvP scenarios. Remove conditions on unleashed. That would be particular. I would take that if I was on PvP. But Corrupting Vines is also really nice. That's kind of the default here because it will have the boons on your pet F2. I believe it's the F2. Which one is Rending Vines? Yep, F2. Instead of corrupting boons, it's going to strip boons. And then it also makes it that your ambushes strip boons. So you get extra boon strips, especially if you're on heal quick untamed or one of the quick untamed builds in general. You're going to be doing additional ambushes more than you would on your regular power untamed build. So you can be stripping boons basically every 9 seconds. Actually less than that, because you have it refresh on weapon swap. So twice every 9 seconds, essentially, which is really nice. Especially because the interval for, like in fractals, for example, for giving boons is 20 seconds. So you're going to be able to easily strip off those boons like on a regular basis. And finally, in our last column, we've got Let Loose, which you're going to take if you are on a quickness build, because that's what gives you quickness. Just means that on your ambushes, you will give it. Restorative Strikes gives you protection when you unleash, and 33% of your strike damage is converted to healing for 4 seconds. So I could see how that could be very useful in a PvP scenario, or if you're looking to just build a tankier like build. But Ferocious Symbiosis is what you're going to want to go for if you're really looking for damage, because that gives you 5% damage increase, as well as a 5% movement speed increase for every stack of Ferocious Symbiosis. Now, this is a class-based buff that you will gain anytime you hit an enemy. And every time you hit an enemy, the cooldown of your stacks is refreshed, because the stack is only going to last for half a second. So you kind of need to be constantly hitting to keep these stacks up. That means that any fight where you're going to have downtime and have to ramp it back up again, you might find that you perform a little worse than on classes that have bursts, where they're ready to just do a big burst of an opener during those downtimes. Actually, before I move on, since I've gone through all of the traits now, any questions so far? Oh, and hi, Opsy. Welcome to the stream. I'll move on then. You know what? Actually, before I do that, let me hide this and show you just what because I didn't go over in the PowerPoint what the actual, like, the additional skills are that Untamed has. So you've got Exploding Spores, which is not one of the primary skills used in the Snowcrows build anymore, but it used to be. I think you can still bring it instead of, it's either instead of Flame Trap or Frost Trap. I can't remember which one. But you technically could bring it if you want to do additional CC. However, you need to make sure that you are like right in the middle of the hitbox so that all of the spores hit the enemy. Mutate conditions, convert all conditions into vulnerability. You also get a stun break and either vigor or fury, depending on which you or your pet is unleashed. That might be convenient in a player versus player environment, but honestly, like, I would just never take this. Like, I don't want to have self vulnerability from that. You could use something else for a stun break that won't hurt you. Unnatural Traversal is the one where you will blink, you'll teleport to your target. It also reduces the recharge on the skill by 50% if you actually like hit the target then afterwards. You get quickness or regen depending on who was unleashed. So that one I had it equipped when I was roaming around in in open world with this when I was first learning the build. And it's kind of fun, but again, not really necessary. Nature's Binding will surround nearby foes with a cage so that they can't escape. That could be useful in open world, I guess, or in a competitive environment. But yeah, again, in normal PvE, not really going to do much. You've also got your heal skill here, Perilous Gift. While active, you take no damage from incoming attacks or condition, but when the cantrip ends, heal based on a percentage of your missing health. So It only lasts for 3 seconds. You get 50% of your missing health back. You can get super speed or stab from that too. Now this one is the real MVP of the Untamed, like whatever you call these utilities. Forest Fortification is real dope because you get 10 stacks of stability for 10 seconds, plus resistance and resolution each for 10 seconds. And you reduce incoming damage by 50%, and which also lasts for 10 seconds. So it's just like you can use this, and then for example on what is it, on OLC, when there's the green knight that like sucks you into like a poison puddle, normally people have to back out of that. You can just use Forest Fortification and just eat it and keep fighting them. Like, it is so nice. You can just eat mechanics with this thing. Granted, you can't eat like the severe shockwave, but or I mean, I haven't tried doing it there, but I don't think so, because that's an instant down attack. Yeah, so Forest Fortification is a very dope skill to have. Yeah, also as you're hitting the enemy, the cooldown on it will be reduced. So it's very cool. Okay, going back to this over here. Stuff that is pretty cool about these builds. So I'm going to go over the power and power quick rotations. They're almost exactly the same. So I'm basically just going to go over the power rotation, and then I'll tell you what's different for quick. Condi Quick, I don't have that rotation down. It's also changed since the last time I played it. So I'm not going to go over that one, but I'm going to make mention of some of the positives and negatives here. And then Heal Quick I'll also briefly go over. Heal Quick is not on the Snowcrow's website, but I'll be showing you what I have set up for it. So, pluses about the power and power quick builds, since they're almost the same. You end up getting a lot of movement in it. And now the reason for this is because your sword 2 and your sword 3 are both huge leaps with pretty, like, sword 2 has a very short cooldown. Plus on top of that, you've got your ambush skill, which is also a leap. And hammer 5 is a leap. So you've got 4 different leaps that you can use, which makes this build really nice on fights where you have to move around a lot. Maybe not so much as if you were just playing a full, like vert or something like that. But it does give you a leg up compared to power builds where you need to be in melee and have to literally run after them. So this can be kind of nice for that. Another thing that is pretty nice, oh man, Lancey on the cat cam right now, his eyes. Sorry, I got distracted. The Boon Strip I mentioned, again, really nice. It's got some nice sustained damage because of how you are... did I skip that first slot? Oh no, I'm going to go over it next, that's why. Oh my god, what's going on? Yeah, I'm going to go over there. But anyways, sustained damage because of how the buffs for this build work. So I'll kind of go over that more in a minute. But essentially, as you can see, one of the negatives is there's no real burst in this build. You're just maintaining your boons at all time and your buffs at all time to keep your damage as high as it can be. Another plus, it's got pretty high CC for just being a build that's not crafted for any CC. Again, we're not going to compare ourselves to Chronos here. But you've got CC on Axe 4. You have CC on your pet skills, because this has slow. Chilled is a soft CC. And then when this does a daze, your Deft Strike ambush. And then when you are on Pet Unleashed for your hammer, hammer 3 and 5 both are hard CCs as well. That's another piece about Untamed. So on the Untamed weapon, hammer, you get different skills when you are on Pet Unleashed versus Ranger Unleashed. Generally, you're always going to be using your hammer skills in Ranger Unleashed because that's when they do the most damage. Something that's also nice about this build, so projectile destruct with enveloping haze. It's going to block missiles. So it's nice that you got that in your back pocket and you can do it pretty quickly, you know, less than 20 seconds for each one, as long as you have alacrity. Decent cleave, partially because of the pet skills there, partially because, you know, Axe 5. It's not the best cleave, but it's decent. And then one thing that I particularly like about it is you get a free elite slot. You don't have to use this elite for any damage, for nothing. It's free. And what's nice about that is because a force fortification is a baller skill, so it's nice to just have that in your pocket if you need it. But you could also just bring Spirit of Nature, and then bada bing, bada boom, you got a free 5-person res that's like, you know, you can cast it fairly far away from you in a massive area, and like, you know, if your group's wiping, you can just bring that. So that's one of the things that I really love about the power and power quick builds. Condi quick, you cannot take that. You have to take entangling vines, so that doesn't work out. Technically, there is no I'll bring that back up for you. Technically, there is no range on this build. You can range with just Axe 4 and your pet. So that's a downside to it. Again, not really a burst, so any fights that are going to really benefit from a burst like Deimos with Signet, like, you're going to get out DPS'd by builds that have big bursts. And the movement can be a negative as well. You know, Condi Quick and Heal Quick have a lot of the same things as Power and Power Quick. Thing is, Condi Quick and Heal Quick, you get the bonus of blinding your friends, which is just fun. I mean, they can turn off ally effects, but yeah. So part of that is because of the staff ambush that I showed you earlier. And then also let me see if I can show it to you really quick here. The dagger ambush, I might have to have an enemy out to use it. I think I do because it's a teleport skill. Yeah, I love the staff ambush. It's so good. Okay, so here is the Unleashed. Yeah, so it's a big old explosion, which is what's really nice about it. The one that's on Axe is not as cool. I'll wait till I swap back again, and then I'll show you that dagger one again because it's kind of fun. So I'm gonna be way over here, right? Well, bam. Now I'm here. Yeah. And then I showed you the staff one, but I'm going to show you again. So. Wear him down. Well, blam. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, so all of the builds have projectile destruction, so that's a feature of the pet. They all have boon strip. I didn't even list that in the Heal Quick one, but yeah, it has boon strip as well, of course. And since you have staff, you technically do have some movement on Heal Quick as well. In fact, the previous build was staff. Now it's staff Mace Warhorn. And so you'd have like double the staffs to be able to use. The primary downside with Heal Untamed is that you have 0 access to stability, which super sucks. Yeah, if they just put stability back on the Elite Spirit, then this build would probably be a lot more competitive.